Everybody, we're going to get started and do a couple of little exercises to get you warmed up to create your own non-objective composition. We're going to be making non-objective compositions out of yarn. We're going to be doing this cool technique called yarn painting. So if you have done yarn projects in the past and you really struggled with things like tying knots and keeping a pattern, the nice thing about this project is it's just glue and the yarn. Something that's really important is to make it visually interesting is to have a good composition. And since we're not really trying to represent anything, since these are non-objective, we want to walk you through a couple different ways to compose an interesting, abstract, non-objective image. So first, let's just kind of pay attention to what your preferences are. Like, what type of non-objective work do you like? So the first thing I have for you to look at here has to do with shapes. Are you the type of person who enjoys geometric shapes, especially things that are with straight lines or that are easy to measure? Or do you like more wonky, hard to define shapes? We call those organic shapes. Or maybe you like both. I think I prefer organic shapes. Moving along, I have two extreme types of non-objective artwork here. This one falls a little bit more into the minimalist category because, as you can see, in each one of these sections, there's really only one line. This is more what I would call maximalism. It's definitely a more is more sort of technique. Maybe you like a little bit of both, so you have that option here as well. I definitely fall in the more is more category, so I'm going to go with the maximalist here. And lastly, let's look at what kind of balance you like. So this is symmetrical balance. So you have the same thing on both left and right. This is asymmetrical, where there's not a line of symmetry. And then this is radial balance. Radial balance has lots of lines of symmetry. Sometimes it's not necessarily a line of symmetry, but all of the parts of the image kind of stem from the center. They all kind of grow out of the center like a flower. I am definitely an asymmetry gal right here. So this is hopefully going to help you to determine what your non-objective style might look like. Doesn't mean you have to stick with things that are in those categories, just trying to help you think of some things to get you started. So in this section here, on the other side of the paper, you're going to use a pencil, or you can use colored pencils, which I have handy ready to go here, or you can use our favorite color sticks. The nice thing about color sticks compared to colored pencils is that they don't break, or if they do break, you can still use them. So it's your choice. You can have all or just one of those things there. But I'm going to lead you through 3 different techniques on how to compose something non-objectively, and then the 4th one you can do on your own. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to listen to, and you can do this in any of these squares here. The first thing we're going to do is listen to 2 different types of music. Both of them are the type of thing that they're like instrumental pieces. They will sound different. So I'm going to play that music for you, and I would like you to, with your pencil or colored pencils or your color sticks, just draw along with the music. So however the music feels, you can represent that just using lines and shapes and patterns. And then if you're using the color sticks and the colored pencils, color. Okay, don't worry if you did not finish that first one. We're going to move on to another square and we're going to draw along with a second song. If you want to come back to the first one later, you may. If you didn't finish that, don't worry, you can come back to it later, but we're going to move on to another source of inspiration for non-objective art. All right, here is a look at what I've done so far. These are from the first two songs. This is the first one and the second one. So we're going to move on to a completely different type of inspiration, yourself. We're going to do a thing that's called neurographic drawing. And the end result of this is really cool because it sort of ends up looking like neurons, like in your brain. To do this, you have to start by ignoring a lot of the other stimulus around the room. So try to block out what's going on around you and don't pay attention to your friends around you, but just close your eyes for just a second and really turn your attention inward. Focus on the variety of things going on in your mind. Pay attention to the energy of those thoughts. Maybe you have a lot of thoughts happening. Maybe you don't have as many thoughts happening. Maybe you're having a lot of positive energy at the moment. Maybe you feel differently. But pay attention to what is happening inside your mind. And then bring your awareness back to your paper. Stay focused on the square. Start on one edge of your paper. Any edge is fine. Or any edge of the square, rather. And draw a line. Draw that line however you feel. And end on another edge. Start on an edge. And draw a line however you feel. And end on an edge. Every line starts on an edge and ends on an edge. Let those lines move with the energy that you're feeling. Once you have however many lines you want to draw in this square, look for all of the areas where the lines intersect, either with themselves or with another line. And in those areas, you want to draw a dot. Not a really big dot, just a dot. Now that I think I've drawn dots at all the intersections, I always occasionally miss one. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to gradually transition the weight of the line, the thickness of the line, from that thick, heavy dot to the thin line. So here I have two dots really close together. So it ends up kind of webbing together like so. So now we're going to use whatever technique you want to fill in this last one. I would like to quote one of my favorite non-objective artists. His name is Vasily Kandinsky, and I have put his pictures in the background while you guys were drawing to music. And he quite literally wrote the book on non-objective art. He wrote this book called Concerning the Spiritual in Art. Favorite quotes says, "It is the artist's duty to use only those forms which fulfill his own need. Absolute freedom, whether from an anatomy or anything of the kind, must be given the artist in his choice of material. Such spiritual freedom is as necessary in art as it is in life. So with your artistic freedom, draw lines, shapes, and patterns in this area that satisfy you." All right, so I used colors that I like, lines that I like, and a movement that I was really into at this particular moment to make this very last one. So all 4 of my compositions look entirely unique because I kind of started with different inspirations. You can select any one of these as a starting point for your yarn project, but you do not have to stick exactly with these. So if you have like an element of one that you want to use, but then you want to do something different with it, that's completely fine. But hopefully this gets you started so that way you can invent a really nice composition that makes you happy.